The truth always comes out. Some people know it's coming. Marriage is supposed to be about love, trust, and responsibility. But what happens when one person only sees it as a transaction? When their goal was never love, but control. For over a year, I've been left to handle everything alone, while the one who made promises simply walk away. Not only did he break his vows, but he refuses to take responsibility for the consequences of his action. Legal obligation? Ignore. Financial support? None. When the court calls, he runs. When reality catches up, he disappears. But the truth always comes out, and he knows it. The illusion of control. For those watching from the sideline, you need to understand, financial control was never about responsibility. It was about power. It was about making sure that the day he decided to walk away, I would have nothing left to fight back with. So now I ask, was the marriage ever real? Or was it just about taking, using, and discarding? Until there was nothing left. What about the enablers? But he didn't do this alone. People stood by and watched. Some justified his action. Some covered for him. And some helped him escape his responsibility. Did they not see the damage he caused? Or did they ignore it because it was easier than holding him accountable? People can pretend, they can hide, they can play games, but the truth has a way of catching up. The cracks are starting to show, and when the truth reaches the people who matters, I wonder how much longer can they keep up the act. The enablers, why do they defend him? Some people refuse to accept the truth, not because they don't see it, but because accepting it would mean admitting they were wrong. They don't want to believe they defended a liar. They don't want to admit they ignored the damage he caused. They don't want to face the reality that they stood by and watched it happen. So instead, they double down. They cover for him. They attack me. Because if they acknowledge the truth, they would have to face their own complicity. They think their silence protects them. But the more they defend him, the more they expose themselves. The enablers are just as guilty. They think silence will protect them. They think covering for him makes them innocent. They think if they turn a blind eye, it won't affect them. But let's be honest, that's exactly what's happening. They knew what kind of man he was. They saw how he treated people. They watched as he twisted the truth, manipulated and played the victim. And they said nothing. Instead, they helped him hide. How do they live with that? The enablers are watching too. To the ones who helped him, to the ones who covered for him, to the one who defended his life. I see you. You may pretend you don't know what's happening. You may tell yourself that you are not responsible. You may think ignoring it makes it go away. But your silence is complicity. You chose to protect a liar. You chose to defend a manipulator. You chose to cover for someone who abandoned his responsibilities. And when the truth is fully exposed, where will that leave you? When people ask, why did you defend him? What will your answer be? When the truth comes out, will you still pretend you didn't know? Or will you finally admit that you were part of the deception? His parents knew, and they let it happen. Yes, his parents allowed him to do all this. They stood by, watching, enabling his behavior, letting him manipulate, deceive, and abandon his responsibilities. They knew what he was doing. They knew the pain he caused. They knew he was breaking every promise he made. And they chose to protect him instead of holding him accountable. If they knew and did nothing, they are just as responsible. If he could do this to his wife, what about his past? His parents didn't stop him. they enable him. They let him get away with it. They covered for him. They justify his action, even when they knew they were wrong. So now I have to ask, what has he done before? And who else suffered because they chose to ignore it? What about his past relationships? What about his ex-girlfriends? What has he done to them they never spoke about? Because if he was capable of this, then it's not the first time. His parents protected him from consequences, but they can't protect him forever. They didn't just watch, they helped. They knew his lies, but still defended him. They saw him manipulate people, but they still covered for him. They watched him abandon responsibilities, but still blame others. And when the truth started coming out, they didn't stop him. They didn't demand him to make things right. Instead, they tried to silence me. They thought they could control the story just like he did. But they were wrong. His parents are complicit, and they will be held accountable. If they were there when he mistreated me and said nothing, they are complicit. If they helped him escape responsibility, they are complicit. If they lie on his behalf, they are complicit. They thought their silence would protect them. But the more they defend him, the more they expose themselves. They tried to shift the blame onto me. They tried to make me seem crazy or difficult. They refused to acknowledge the truth, even when the evidence was undeniable. But no amount of denial will change the facts. They thought they could hide the truth, but it's too late. For years, they enabled him. For years, they protected him from consequences. For years, they helped him manipulate and deceive. But now the truth is out. People see what they ignored. People see the damage they helped cause. People see that their silence was never innocent. It was complicity. They thought they could erase what he did. But something don't disappear. The truth is coming, and it's coming for all of them. I know exactly how this works. He won't fight his battle himself. He will send others to do his dirty work. But I see them for what they enablers. And just like him, they will not silence me. So here's my question to him and his enablers. How much longer can you keep up the act? How long before you realize that running doesn't work anymore? But at some point, reality catches up to everyone. And for some people, that time is now. The lies he tells himself. She won't say anything. She's weak. No one will believe her. I'll just disappear and this will all go away. But he underestimated me. And now he's running out of option. I spoke up. I gathered the evidence. I make sure people know the truth. And now he has nowhere left to hide. There's one thing narcissists fear more than anything, being exposed. For years, they built a perfect image, a mask, a carefully crafted illusion to fool everyone around them. They manipulate, they deceive, and they control, all while making sure no one sees their true nature. But the moment you unmask them, the moment they realize you see through every lie, every manipulation, every trick they have ever used, that's the moment they discard you. Not because you are worthless, not because they don't need you anymore, but because you know too much. He's running because he knows the truth is coming. He's panicking because he knows I see through everything. And the more he tries to hide, the more obvious his guilt becomes. Once a narcissist is unmasked, right, the only thing they can do is run. The next move, play the victim. I already know what's coming next. The moment he sees me rise, he will twist the story, right? He'll say, look, she attacked me. She's making my life miserable. She's obsessed with me. But here's the reality. He wanted to see me suffer. He wanted me to stay silent. He wanted to break me so he could feel powerful. Now that I'm speaking up, suddenly he's the victim? No, not this time. I know the tactic, and it's not working. This is the same game he's played before. He discards, he destroys, he walks away. And when his victim doesn't stay broken, he flips the narrative. He doesn't get to rewrite this story anymore. He wanted me powerless, but I refused to be. He wanted me to stay in the dark, but I'm stepping into the light. He thought I would be silent. He thought I would disappear. Thought I would let him rewrite history, but he picked the wrong victim. And now the truth is coming. The power shift. They no longer control the narrative. For years, he controlled the story. For years, he decided what people knew and what they didn't. For years, he lies, twisted the fact and played the victim. But now, the narrative is no longer his to control. He can no longer pretend his action have no consequences. This is just the beginning. He can run from the court. He can run from responsibility. He can run from the truth. But sooner or later, we'll be forced to face it because the truth always catches up. And when it does, I'll be here, standing tall, watching as the lies finally collapse. His past relationship, the patterns never change. Why won't his ex-girlfriend even look at him? Why does she pretend he doesn't exist? Why is she completely silent about him? Because she has nothing left to say. Because she has already survived him. Because she knows the only way to win against a narcissist is to walk away. She knew what he was. She saw the truth. But she didn't fight back. She just disappeared. But I'm not her. I'm not the one who walks away in silence. I'm not the one who pretends it never happened. I'm the one who fights back. You thought I would be like her, easy to discard, easy to silence. You thought I would let him rewrite the past, just like he did before. He thought he could control the story, but this time is different. He picked the wrong victim. When a narcissist realizes they lost control, when the lies stop working, they panic. When the manipulation fails, they get desperate. When the victim fights back, they run. He thought I would be quiet. He thought I would just disappear. But he made one mistake. He underestimated me. What happens when the truth can't be hidden anymore? Lies have an expiration date. Deception only lasts until the facts come out. And when the mask fully falls, what will he do then? Thinks he can control the story? The worst is yet to come. He thought running away would make it all disappear. He thought silence would protect him. He thought no one would connect the dots. But what happens when the dots finally connect? Financial control, the hidden strategy of a narcissist. Narcissists don't just control finances out of responsibility. They control finances to control you because they never plan to stay forever. Because they don't know how many years they will stay married. Because they need an exit plan before you even realize what's happening. From the beginning, the marriage wasn't about love. It was about setting up control for when they leave. Why do they control finances? Because they plan to leave. They know that when they finally discard you, you will look for help. You will look for a lawyer. You will fight for your rights. You will seek justice for everything they have done. And they can't let that happen. So they make sure that when they leave, you have nothing left to fight back with. They keep all the money in their name. Okay? They limit your access to financial resources. They pretend to be responsible, but every decision is made to weaken you. The goal is simple. The day they decide to walk away, you will be powerless. Marriage was just a step in their plan. A narcissist doesn't enter a marriage with the intention of a lifelong commitment. They enter it as a transaction, a way to gain legal benefits, a way to build an image, a way to trap you before they leave. They never commit to you. They commit to controlling the outcome when they leave. That's why they start withdrawing money before they go. That's why they start legal proceedings to drain your resources. That's why they make sure you are financially isolated. So when they disappear, you can't chase them. They don't just leave. They make sure you can't afford to fight back. The truth about financial abuse is not an accident. It's not an irresponsibility. It's a deliberate strategy. He planned his exit long before I ever realized what was happening. That's why he moved money before disappearing. That's why he pretended to be broke. That's why he ignored legal obligation, because he knew I wouldn't have enough resources to fight back. But what he didn't expect, I may not have financial power, but I still had the truth. And that's more powerful than anything he tried to take from me. The final reality. He never wanted a partner, only to control. He thought marriage would secure his benefit. He thought financial control would keep me trapped. He thought that when he discarded me, I wouldn't have the strength to fight back. But what he didn't realize is, he may have taken my finances, but he did not take my power. I see through every move he made. I know exactly what he planned. I understand now why he always controlled the money. Because he was never committed to me, only to his own exit strategy. And now, no matter how much money he moved, no matter how much he tries to hide, he can't escape the truth. The narcissist game, but I'm not playing anymore. He wanted to see me suffer. He wanted me to have nothing. He wanted me to break so badly that I would never recover. That was always the plan, wasn't it? When he discarded me, it wasn't enough to leave. He had to make sure I had no way to stand back up, no resources, no stability, no support. Because a narcissist doesn't just walk away, they need to destroy. But what happens when the person he tried to destroy doesn't stay down? The next move? Play the victim. Okay? I already know what's coming next. The moment he sees me rise, okay, he will twist the story. He will say, look, she's attacking me. She's making my life miserable. She's obsessed with me. But here's the reality. He wanted to see me suffer. He wanted me to stay silent. He wanted to break me so he could feel powerful. Now that I'm speaking up, suddenly he's the victim. No, not this time. I know the tactic, and it's not working. This is the same game he has played before. He discards, he destroys, he walks away. And when his victim doesn't stay broken, he flips the narrative. He doesn't get to rewrite this story anymore. He wanted me to be powerless, but I refused to be. He wanted me to stay in the dark, but I am stepping into the lights. The truth is coming, and this time, he doesn't get to run from it. A narcissist doesn't just leave. They discard. They don't just walk away like a normal person. They use you, drain you, take everything they can, and when there's nothing left to take, they throw you away. But let's be clear, it was never about love. It was never about care. It was always about control. Once you stop being useful, once they can't manipulate you anymore, they don't just walk away. They discard you like an object, like trash, because that's how they see people. But here's what they don't expect. For the person they discarded to rise back up, they expect you to stay broken. They expect you to be silent. They expect you to chase after them, to beg, to cry. But what happens when their victim doesn't play along? What happens when you see through their lies? What happens when you refuse to stay broken? That's when they panic, because now you are not their supply anymore. Now you are the biggest threat to their lives. And that's exactly why I'm speaking up. Why do they target kind people? Narcissists seek out the naive, the kind-hearted, the one who believes in love and loyalty. Why? Because kindness is easy to manipulate. Because trust makes you blind to red flag. Because your good heart becomes their tool for control. They choose their victims carefully. Someone who will forgive too much. Okay? Who will believe their lies. Who will bend over backward to please them. But here's the mistake they always make. Some victims wake up. Some victims start to see through the deception. Some victims start to put the pieces together. Some victims realize that love was never real, only control. And that's when the narcissist panic, because a victim who sees the truth is dangerous. Because once you see them for who they are, they can't control you anymore. So what do? They discard you. They act like you never mattered. They rewrite history to make themselves the victim. But here's what they didn't expect. You didn't stay naive. You didn't stay broken. You woke up. And once you wake up, there's no going back. He thinks hiding will give him control. That silence will make me forget. But what he doesn't realize is that I see through everything. I've learned more than he can imagine. And I'm no longer the person he once controlled. I'm a lot stronger. And I will not back down. He can run, he can hide. But the truth always comes out. The more he avoids accountability, the more obvious it becomes. What I've shared is just the beginning. There are still more serious things that he has done that I haven't revealed yet. And rest assured, I have the evidence. His time is running out. And I'll make sure the truth is known. This is not about revenge. This is about justice. I will stand strong, and he can't hide forever. The truth is already out there, but there's still more that hasn't been said yet. If things remain unresolved, I may have no choice but to share the full story. He thought he could control the narrative, that if he ignored things long enough, they would just disappear. But they hadn't. The truth is out, and his actions are catching up to him. The courts know, the law knows, and soon everyone else too. The lies he built are crumbling. For years, he manipulated the story, twisting reality to suit his needs. He played the victim, acting like he was the one who suffered. He ran, thinking distance would protect him from consequences. He can't control the narrative. He can't rewrite history. He can't silence the truth. He thought he was untouchable. But the moment the truth started coming out, he realized he has no more control. Why is he running? Because he knows he's guilty. An innocent man doesn't run. An innocent man doesn't hide. An innocent man doesn't ignore legal orders. If he has nothing to hide, he will face the court. If he was truly innocent, he wouldn't have abandoned his responsibility. If he was the victim, why is there a warrant for his arrest? The truth is simple. He is guilty and he knows it. His next move, a fake redemption story. The moment he realizes he can't run anymore, he will try to rewrite the story. He will pretend to change. He will claim to have found himself. He will seek sympathy, saying he was misunderstood all along. He thinks a new relationship, a new religion, or a new city will erase his past. But nothing can erase the truth. Changing his name won't erase his lies. Converting won't erase his obligation. Marrying someone new won't change the fact that he's a fraud. This isn't about growth. It's about escaping consequences. He thinks time will make people forget that his last hope to stay quiet long enough that people move on, that the court forgets, that I stop speaking. But here's what he doesn't realize. I haven't forgotten, and I never will. His legal obligations still exist. His lies are still documented. His actions still have consequences. No matter how long he runs, the truth will always be there waiting. What happens when he has nowhere left to run? There are only so many places to hide. There are only so many lies he can tell. There are only so many people willing to defend him. He ran from his responsibility. He ran from the law. He ran from the truth. But what happens when he runs out of the places to hide? That's when reality will finally catch up to him. To those who still believe him, ask yourself, if he's truly innocent, why did he abandon everything? If he's truly the victim, why is he the one running? If he was truly telling the truth, why does every fact contradict him? The evidence is there. The proof is undeniable. And at some point, you will have to ask yourself, how long will you keep defending the indefensible? The final truth? He's not a victim. He's a coward. He had a choice. He could have done the right thing. He could have taken responsibility. He could have faced the truth. But instead, he chose to run. A man who runs from his own action is not a victim. He's a coward. He abandoned his promises. He abandoned his responsibilities. And now, he's trying to abandon the truth. But no matter where he goes, no matter how hard he tries to erase the past, the truth always wins in the end. I'm not afraid. He thought he could silence me. He thought he could make me disappear. He thought I would just let it go. But what he didn't realize is I'm stronger than he ever imagined. I have the truth. I have the evidence. I have the resolve to see this truth. He can hide. He can run. But I will never stop fighting for justice, because this isn't just about me. This is about every person he has lied to, every person he has manipulated, every person he has betrayed. And one by one, the truth will reach them all. His time is running out. He thought he could delay this forever. He thought people would forget. He thought the law wouldn't catch up. But he was wrong. And now, his time is running out. The truth is no longer in his control. The consequences he ran from are finally closing in. And when that moment comes, I'll be here watching as every lie collapses around him. Because in the end, the truth always comes out. And for him, the time is now. The end of his illusion. For years, he built his life on deception. For years, he crafted a mask to fool everyone. For years, he played the role of a victim while destroying others. But now, the illusion is breaking. The lies are unraveling. The enablers are being exposed. The truth is catching up to him. He thought he could escape accountability forever, but nothing stays hidden forever. He's losing control, and he knows it. A narcissist thrives on control. Control over the narrative. Control over people's perception. Control over their victims. But what happens when the control slips away? He panics. He lashes out. He tries to manipulate one last time. He knows he's losing, and that's why he's desperate. He will try to gaslight. He will try to rewrite history. He will try to convince people that he's the real victim. But the facts don't lie. Neither do the consequences. The legal system knows. There is a warrant for his arrest. He has ignored court orders. He has abandoned financial obligation. A man who refuses to face the law is not a victim. He's a fugitive from his responsibility. Running doesn't erase legal consequences. Avoid court doesn't make the charges disappear. Hiding doesn't change the truth. At some point, the system catches up. And when it does, he won't have anywhere left to run. His enablers will be exposed. Some people still defend him. Some people still pretend they don't know the truth. Some people still believe his lies because it's easier than admitting that they were fooled. But they are running out of excuses. They knew what he did. They chose to protect him instead of holding him accountable. They helped him escape instead of forcing him to face justice. Defending a liar doesn't make you loyal. It makes you complicit. And when the truth fully comes out, they will have to answer for their silence. Why did they defend a man who abandoned his own responsibility? Why did they attack the person he harmed instead of holding him accountable? Why did they believe his excuses when the facts say otherwise? They thought their silence would protect them, but now it's exposing them. His lies can't save him anymore. He can spin whatever story he needs to. He can try to shift the blame, twist the fact, and make himself the victim. But in the end, the evidence speaks for itself. The legal system doesn't care about his lies. The people who matter know the truth. For the first time in his life, his words have no power because the facts are louder. The world is watching now. He thought this would stay private. He thought he could handle this quietly behind closed doors. He thought his enablers would cover for him like they always have. But now, too many people know his lies are no longer just whispers. His actions are no longer just rumors. His guilt is no longer just an accusation. The people who need to know already do. And soon, even more will. He has no more move left. He tried to run, but the law is catching up. He tried to manipulate, but people see through him. He tried to play the victim, but the truth exposed him. Now there's only one thing left for him to do. Face the consequences. The game is over. And for the first time in his life, he doesn't get to control what happened next. This isn't just about him. This is about every person who has suffered at the hand of a manipulator. Every person who was gaslighted in questioning their own reality. Every person who was left to pick up the pieces alone. If you have ever been silenced, ignored, or abandoned, know this, you are not alone, and your truth matters. The more we speak up, the less power these people have. The more we expose them, the less they can hurt others. He thought he could destroy me. Instead, I become stronger. What happened next? That's not up to him anymore. That's not up to his enablers. That's not even up to me. That's up to the truth. And the truth always wins. And the truth doesn't need permission to be heard. And the truth never goes away. He built his life on lies. Now he has to live with the reality of them. And for him, the reality starts now. The first betrayal, fake remorse, no repentance. The first time he cheated, I forgave him. He looked sorry. He said all the right things. He acted like he regretted, like he had changed. But he never actually repented. He didn't feel guilt. He felt exposed. He wasn't sorry for what he did. He was sorry he got caught. He wasn't afraid of losing me. He was afraid of losing control. That's the difference. A man who is truly sorry doesn't repeat the same betrayal. A man who is truly sorry makes things right. He didn't. Instead, he continued to manipulate. Instead, he used my forgiveness as a free pass. Instead, he made sure that when he left the next time, he wouldn't look guilty. The second time, the bluff and the rewrite. By the second time, it was no longer about guilt. By the second time, he has already planned his escape. He knew he was going to leave. He knew he would betray me again. But this time, he needed to make sure he didn't look like the bad guy. He wasn't living in shame. He wanted to live as a hero. He wasn't running because he was guilty. He wanted to make it look like I was the problem. He didn't want people to see what he had done. He wanted to twist the story before they found out. The second time, he didn't just cheat. He staged his exit. He started playing the victim before he even left. He started making up reason to justify his actions. He started blaming me for his own betrayal. He wasn't sorry. He was preparing his defense. That's why he looked different the second time. He wasn't repenting. He was rehearsing. The final game, live but be the hero. He knew the truth would come out. So he had to make sure he controlled the version people heard first. He needed people to believe he was forced to leave. He needed people to believe he was the one who suffered. He needed people to believe he was escaping, not abandoning. Because in his mind, it was never about truth. It was about perception. He painted himself as the good guy before he left. He spread false stories to make it seem like I was the problem. He set up his next chapter before fully closing the last one. The second time wasn't just betrayal, it was a performance. And that's why he's running now, because for the first time, his script isn't working. The truth is out. His lies are unraveling. People who matter see the truth. He wanted to leave looking like a hero, but in the end, he'll be remembered as nothing more than a coward. The truth about letting go, why I had no choice. If he had settled things with me fairly, if he had simply walked away without trying to destroy me, if he had chosen to end things without causing unnecessary suffering, I probably would have let him go. If he had honored his obligation, if he had handled things like an adult, if he had simply moved on without trying to see me suffer, I wouldn't have had to fight back. But he didn't want peace. He wanted me to suffer. He didn't just leave. He wanted to make sure I struggled. He didn't just disappear. He made sure I had nothing. He didn't just break his promises. He made sure I couldn't rebuild. That's when I had no choice but to give him the same energy he gave me. He wanted me to feel hurt. So now he's feeling the weight of his own action. He wanted me to feel powerless, but now he's the one losing control. He thought he could watch me suffer and walk away untouched. But he was wrong. I wasn't looking for revenge. I was looking for fairness. But when he refused to play fair, he left me no choice. Action have consequences. And he's learning that now. He thought that I would stay silent, right? He thought that I would accept the pain and move on. He thought I would let him rewrite the story. But the moment he made me suffer for no reason, he made sure I wouldn't let him walk away so easily. If he had handled things like a decent human being, I wouldn't have had to remind him what consequences feel like. He chose to drag this out. He chose to make things harder than they needed to be. He chose to turn things into a battle. So now, he has to deal with the fight he created. I didn't want this, but he forced my hand. I'm not the villain in this story. I'm just someone who refused to be his victim. If he had settled this fairly, I would have walked away peacefully. If he had left me with my dignity intact, I wouldn't have had to expose the truth. If he had just let go without trying to destroy me, I wouldn't have had to remind him that I don't break easily. But he wanted to see me suffer, so now he gets to experience the consequences of his own action. The end of the battle, the reality he created. He didn't just lose me. He lost the ability to control the outcome. He didn't just walk away. He left behind a mess that will follow him forever. He didn't just break me. He created someone who no longer tolerates injustice. If he wanted an easy escape, he should have thought about that before making me his enemy. And now, he has to live with what he started. I didn't choose this path, he did. If he had acted responsibly, I would have to speak up. But when someone repeatedly runs from their obligation, hide behind lies, and leave destruction in their wake, silence is no longer an option. The truth needs to be told.